Oh yeah! Hey guys, working on my Slash 4x4 while I'm just hanging out with Steve-O and them on RC Talk. Here's how the gear mesh system works on a Rustler 4x4 and a Slash 4x4. And it is a sliding motor mechanism where there is no preset indications for what gearing you should be at and what area you should be at. So it's fully manual for setting the mesh, and it's one of the more difficult RCs to set a mesh on because it's hard to get both fingers in there. You cannot see it, but the tip that I have is you want to just hold on to the pinion and then rock the spur back and forth. You want to roll it all the way around, make sure you've got no super hard spot. Like that area is a little bit tighter than the rest, but still it's got pretty much the ideal amount of gap. And this is the upgraded slipper clutch system that's from a Revo, where it has the full metal pads. Now I'm going to take this apart because I am going to put in the aluminum bearing adapter right now. So it is one screw to get the gear cover off. I'm using a 2.5 mil screw. It's these two screws up at the top and then these two screws at the bottom. And you just take it and pull the back end right off. Now what you're trying to get at is this, and all you do is you just pull this straight out. You just have to pull on it. Hidden inside of here, the piece we're looking to replace is hidden right down underneath on the underside of this bearing. It's plastic, and we're going to put in the aluminum one. Now in order to get that bearing out of there, you do have to disassemble your slipper system. This grub screw is a 2.0, 2 millimeter. This is Loctited on from the factory, so it's pretty tight. But yeah, you want to get this off of here, and then pay attention to where it's actually scored on the shaft, because this does have play where you can move it back and forth. Now you can remove this nut. And now this I don't actually remember being an issue before, but this nut is bigger. It is not a 7 mil, it's actually an 8 mil. So you may not have a tool to do that, but you can remove this with just a adjustable wrench if you really need to. But an 8 mil will allow you to get it on here and then remove it. So just pay attention to the order of your things. Pull the nut off, then the spring, then the bearing comes up and out. So pop the plastic out. You just poke it out. It's the plastic adapter. Putting in the metal, and then reverse. I really wish that part would just be on here from stock. That would make life a lot easier. Then you would never have to worry about it, and it would be fine. And just make sure that you don't, like what I just did there, where I picked it up the wrong way and my pads separated. Now I have to get the slipper pads locked back into the friction disc. Make sure that all of your pads are in proper position. Nothing is out of place, like that one. I need to get this one back on. There it goes, snapped into place. So you want to make sure that you keep holding that everything's aligned properly, and then tighten on your nut. The tighter that you compress this spring, the more locked your center differential is going to be. So you want to take it right down to where it's almost fully compressed, and then back it off a little bit. So that's going to be a really tight, nice slipper, extra strong because we got the plastic out. Once the plastic's out, now it's all metal except for the actual spur gear itself. So this should last a long time. I've just got the aluminum bearing carrier back in, and I've just made sure my mesh is still okay, so the rear end is back on. And the other thing you want to check is after your mesh is good, you want to make sure that this screw is tight, because that is what holds your motor in place. Once that loosens off, the motor can move. Check it with the 2.5 millimeter, and it definitely can be tighter. So tightening this screw, checking your mesh. Bearing carrier is optional, but highly recommended. And then other than that, since I run in a wet environment, I'm probably going to poke some holes in the tires. I'm also going to protect the body with Gorilla Tape Clear. I'm going to tape some of the wear points on the inside of the body. I always recommend this for protecting RC bodies. It's the best stuff I've ever come across for weight and protection. Alright, so I use my Gorilla Tape Clear, and I've got my body all protected. It's very hard to see because it is clear, but I've coated all around the perimeter. So the front perimeter, all around up the wheel wells, up the side, because the side is always in contact with the side of the chassis, and all the way around to the bottom too. So I did leave the internal cage structure piece stock, so I did not take it off and put tape around it, under it. That would definitely make it last longer, but I'm curious to see how long will this last. Will it end up pulling out through the front body? That is a known issue with the X-Max. When you crash an X-Max really hard, these screws will pull right out through the body, so I want to see if it'll happen on this as well. I don't think so, because it's so much lighter. It should be fine. This body should last me a long time. Next up is getting the system up and running. This LiPo is fairly chunky. This is my 3S 5200 Park and Power, what my friends and I like to call Puff and Power, because it's kind of puffy. Anyway, 5200 milliamp hour 3S fits in there fine, and this is compressing on it, but it does clip in there totally fine. Taking the receiver box, I'm opening this just so I can bind it with my radio that has the Bluetooth module, and then I have multiple model memories on this. So I'm going to do the binding procedure. Now, while turning on the transmitter, you want to be holding down the set button while you turn on the transmitter. Now it's searching. Now I have to put this into its bind mode. I'm holding down the link button, turn it on, and it should try and pair with this radio now. And then it bound right up. So sweet. Now I've got my TQI TSM radio with Bluetooth connected. I'll do the firmware updates, get the app connected, and tweak the app how I like it. Then I did my Bluetooth connection to the app, and I must say I am quite impressed. The app picked it up as a Rustler 4x4 VXL, and there were no firmware updates required. I did not have to firmware update the receiver, so they've already done it for me. That's nice, because usually these receivers get out of date fast. They're constantly adding updates to them, so I am surprised that out of box it's running the latest firmware. Now I'm just going to go into my drive effects and turn up my steering sensitivity to my exponential, which I really like. I usually run a 25 to 30% exponential, and what that just means is now when I turn the steering wheel, it's non-linear. So if I turn this all the way back to nothing, as soon as I turn the wheel a little bit, it turns the wheel a lot. That's like a little bit of turning the wheel equals to that much. Now if you turn up steering sensitivity, I wish they wouldn't call it this. This is actually steering exponential. Turn up steering exponential. Now a little movement on the wheel is a little movement. But if you go all the way out, then it's fully progressive. So it's a non-linear response. That's why you want exponential on your steering. It helps tame it down quite a bit on straightaways. TSM assistance is currently at 0% because this is my radio. As soon as I turn this up, TSM moves with it as I'm moving the dial. That's exactly what I want. And as for endpoints, this side sounds a little noisy. Go into Garage, Channel Setup, Steering, and out of the box they've got both endpoints set to 100%. That's likely not what you want. So turning right, I want a little bit less on turning right, so I'm going to dial this down to 83. Anyway, you just play around with your endpoints to get it so the servo is not squealing and you're not seeing it over torque the wheel. It's hard to show. So in the end, this is what I settled with for endpoints for my servo. I found the best way to do it is to actually hold it up, and while turning the wheel, while adjusting the slider, watch to see when the wheel moves, and then you know that's where the real endpoint is. So around 85% each direction is where it should be, and they set it to 100% at the factory. So you're driving it an extra 15% than it can take, and that does wear out your servo quicker. And then lastly, you just want to check your actual throttle response. So you want to pick up the model and make sure that when you press throttle that you've got throttle, and as soon as you hit brake you've got brake or reverse. So I think we're good to go there. Ooh, that's just like a little blip on throttle. I might leave the shocks stock for now just to try it. You know what I just a bit forgot before I go and run this on LiPo is that out of the box it comes in nickel metal hydride mode. Low voltage battery is activated when the LED is green. So you just have to make sure that your LED light is not red. Green is good for LiPo, red is for nickel metal hydride. Cool. I think we're ready to go take it outside. Here we go, guys, it's time. First run of the Traxxas Rustler 4x4. Let's get at it. This is on 3S LiPo with the stock gearing, so it's an 11-tooth pinion as far as I know. 32 pitch, 11-tooth pinion, 3S LiPo. Here we go, first pull. The slipper still seems kind of loose. TSM down. It seems a little bit aggressive. Yeah, that's better. I turned TSM down to about 30%. That's flattered on the 11 tooth. Definitely think I want to go up a gear or 4. I think it comes with an 11 and a 17, so a really good sweet spot would probably be like a 14 or a 15, which I think I have. I just got to go look at my stuff. But I definitely think I'd like to gear it up. There's a wheelie. It's got to be on clean tarmac for a wheelie. We're good now. I guess it's just the pavement was wet and dirty before. This is good now. Oh yeah. Ooh. Ooh. I was full on the brakes. I went under that fence. And I ripped off my GoPro mount. And I thought I would get you some running footage, but I just ripped it off. I'm gonna have to look up a solution for that. What's a good way to, oh yeah, that thing's toast now. I'll have to come up with a plan for that. I mean, no onboard footage this time. Well, let's try the self-right. Okay, gonna press the set button now. Really? That didn't work at all. Full throttle. Oh yeah! Oh yeah! Oh, that was epic! Ooh. This was a nice launch point here if I can get it again. Full throttle. Oh, it looks like it's better from this side. The snow's hard enough where it's just dancing on top, and the car's light enough too, so it's not falling through. Oh! Oh! Cold weather A-arms put to the test. Hey, the body popped off. I hit the corner of that building really hard. Ooh. Wow. I haven't figured out a good way to get the front clipped on yet. It's a little difficult to get the front on. Yeah. Where is it? I find I have to look at it. Yeah, I always have to look. Right? Yeah, I definitely want to gear up. Because that's full throttle. Ooh, look at it dance around. Oh, I blew a shock cap. Yep. Is it still there? Yeah, still there. Quick fix, hold on. Okay guys, so I was able to screw the cap back on, but I lost my spring perch. And I was just searching around to see if I could find it, because that's the corner of the building that I hit. Gonna have to pick up one of those. I have one at home, but none with me. And this one's almost popped out too. See, that's in place and this one's out. So that's where I noticed on the Traxxas Slash 4x4 Ultimate, they changed these spring perches to be a captured design, so they cannot do that. But I don't think they work on these Ultra Shocks, because these are really easy to come off. Anyway, even with the broken spring cup, it still works. The hunt for parts. Holy crap, here it is. Wow, cool. Sweet, we're back in business. Awesome. I was lucky. Sweet, fixed. Oh, so much better. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Oh, what was that? A broken axle. An axle came flying out. But it just popped out? What the heck? Oh, that's probably from that same, that's probably on the same, oh, my shock cap popped off again. And my axle popped out because it drooped so much, this was able to just slide right out and pop out. So we're gonna call it there. Definitely got to put aluminum shock caps on. Sorry to say. I was just checking out the damage. I didn't actually break the outdrive, it just popped out. So because there was so much flex after the shock cap popped off, this was able to pop out. I wasn't bashing that hard, but I did hit a wall, so what can you do? All right guys, if you enjoyed this video, hit that like button. If you're new around here, subscribe. If you want to talk to me, leave a comment down below. And as always, thanks for watching.